Those are the people who live in San Francisco and fucking don't know shit about hockey until playoffs come around. I'm a Sharks fan. All right, bud.
All right, this is going to be episode number 2 of Tank Talk, a Sharks podcast where we talk about recent Sharks news, their past games, make predictions for their upcoming schedule, ramble about anything obscure that we want. That's basically what the podcast is about. My name's Lucas. I'm here with my constant co-host, Jeff. Any
Howdy.
introduction from you? How's your week going?
No. It's awful.
It's
pouring rain. It's pouring rain here in New York, and you can't really, can't go anywhere because the homeless, they don't, they just sit in the middle of the sidewalk. They don't care. So you try to move anywhere, you're either in a puddle or a homeless person. So I got Chick-fil-A delivered.
Nice. Yeah.
Good week.
That's great. Yeah. It's kind of cloudy in Seattle, just like typical overcast kind of.
I was gonna say that sounds like how I left it.
Yeah. It's been pretty nice actually, not that bad, but yeah, we got a lot to talk about today. Sharks becoming the absolute biggest joke of the NHL for the first week, killing all the hype for this show. And what's funny is the intro to our show last week was literally making fun of the Oilers and the Ducks, who are the two best teams right now in the Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
Oilers just like unreal. So
and I'm
that
shocked that I
us.
didn't make a hurricane joke either, and they're kicking ass too.
Yeah, I mean they at least made a good run last year.
Yeah, but like their stupid little storm surge celebrations. I don't know. I know you.
I like it. I like that.
I know you like those, but I think they're just stupid.
I say like give them all the freedom they want. I don't really care.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm not saying take away their freedoms, man.
That's what you're saying. It sounds like you're saying
the
take
way
away
that
their
they're
freedom.
using their freedom is stupid.
Oh man, just a bunch of jerks.
Yep.
All right. Well, we got a lot of losses, a lot of rough games, a lot to break down from that, but to kind of recap what we talked about last time, I kind of want to go into our expectations coming into the first game of the season, and just like what we thought about the entire season, how we would come out. I know we spent some time last week talking about the preseason and saying that, it's just preseason. It's hard to take that into consideration and just know like how we're going to come out. But it was kind of bad to the way we started in preseason. And then it seems like we didn't really ramp anything up at the start of that. But, if you want to give some of your expectations on where you thought the Sharks would be coming into the first week of games, go for it. Let you.
I mean, I would say the biggest thing that I took out of those first, it was the Ducks game is when I was like, okay, well this is stupid. Like I was like, we're gonna be the worst team in the NHL. And my opinions obviously changed because I'm an emotional human being. But after that third game, I was just like, this is the most disorganized team I've ever seen. Like no one looked like they were playing together. Everyone was on their own. Carlson looked like Carlson from last year. Yeah, and Jones looks. I mean, he looked great in the Calgary game, but that was about it. Jones was embarrassingly bad, and I don't know. Everyone just didn't look like they were playing together.
Yeah, but and just like a huge drop off from where we thought, and this is like where I kind of have a lot of issue is like these guys just didn't look ready to play at all, and from where we ended last year and the changes going into this year to come out of the season not being ready to play it's the biggest disgrace. Like if you look on a team wide like San Jose Sharks basis, everyone from the outside was scrutinizing us for saying we shouldn't have gone as far as we did. We said we got a gimme in the Vegas series, we got a gimme in the Colorado series, and it's just like everyone scrutinizing us that we didn't go as far as we do. So we need to be like, that should be some motivation to be ready to play. We have a bunch of young guys coming in. They're trying to make the spots on the team. They need to be ready to play. We're playing arguably like one of our biggest rivals now, which is the
Yeah.
Knights, back to back. Like, you got to be ready
ESPN
to
was
go.
calling it ESPN called it the best rivalry in hockey, which
Yeah,
I would
and
love if that was true. I don't think that is true, but
there's an
like,
argument to be
you know,
made, though. There is
yeah,
an
no,
argument
I
to be
agree.
made at this point. Like, with all the chirping and all the stuff that goes on Twitter, like, there is an argument to be made at that point, which is pretty crazy. This new
Hmm.
team that comes in, but like, we're playing our rivals, a team that they're going to be hungry to beat us because we knocked them out of the playoffs. So, like, we need to be ready to go too. And
Yep.
then looking just specifically at the players, like, there should be a lot of players that are just like ready to go. Eric Carlson, for example, like, congratulations on his baby, obviously, and like, it makes sense that he's not making or not going to play the first game, but on the second game, he still
Yeah.
should be ready to go. Like, you're coming into a huge contract year. You have basically changed the way the team is structured because of your contract. A bunch of eyes are going to be on you. You have to be ready to play. Kevin
You just had
LeBlanc,
a baby.
yeah. Kevin LeBlanc, he takes a hometown discount, which is great. Love that. But he's betting on himself. He needs to be ready to go from the start of the season. If he wants a big contract next year, he needs to
Yep.
like perform. And like, he looked awful. His back check effort, it was literally just like memed on because it was so bad. Like, there's a point. What game? I think it was the Ducks game. I can't. It's one of their horrible games, so it's hard to just even pinpoint it exactly. But he just like completely gives up on the back check, and the Ducks go down and score, and it was just awful. Jones,
God.
another person, just super highly criticized last season for his regular season. I mean,
Hmm.
had one of his worst years stat wise, and he needs to be ready to come out and play. He didn't look ready. Couture, new captain, he needs to be ready to go. It's just all these people on the team that you have high expectations for. You have these like high markers that they need to hit and like start off ready to go. This
Yep.
team is, in my opinion, under a lot of eyes and has a lot to prove coming into this year, and they just didn't look ready, and that's why they had such a slow start, and it's really bad.
The captain situation too pisses me off. It's like I think it's 1/4 of our team is wearing a letter. Like that's like unacceptable. I don't.
Oh, you
How
don't
do
you
you
don't
have?
like the alternating
Well,
assistant captains and stuff?
no. Like, how do you have any direction? Like, if you're gonna shift to the new guys, shift to the new guys. If you're gonna stick with the old guys, stick with the old guys. If you're gonna have Cooch with two older guys behind him, that's fine. But narrow it down to three guys who are gonna be the leaders on the team. Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I think it's a bad signal by DeBoer that he basically is like, I don't necessarily know, so let's figure it out as we go. And that I don't think that showed that that's not working.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird, and it's something that like other teams are doing too. They're like giving a lot of other players like an assistant captain role,
Yeah.
and it's really strange for sure. I mean, in the Sharks example, I don't necessarily hate it. I don't like when teams do that. I agree with you, but I don't necessarily hate it because of like all the veteran power we have on the Sharks and all these people who are leaders. But yeah, at the end of the day, like, you can be a leader without an A, and these guys can
Hmm.
be a leader without an A. So it's like, I just don't know why you're giving. So it just looks tacky in my opinion. But
I agree. Yep.
yeah. All right, you wanna we can kind of go into the losses at this point.
Yeah.
Kind of talked about the expectations, but going into the losses, like, what was some of the horrendous shit you saw for the most part?
Well, I'll just throw the two Vegas games all together because that was so bad. Like
Yeah.
it carried up. I was thinking, okay, they kicked our ass like first night. I think it was a couple years ago too. The Kings kicked our ass on the opening night, and then we had like a winning streak or something. But I was thinking, okay, they kicked our ass. We'll go right back. And I didn't even watch the first two periods of the game. But I got a text from my buddy, and he was like, I can't say it probably on air, but it was not a kind text about the Sharks and just talking about the Knights doing stuff to us. And I was like, why? And then I go and look at the score, and it's like 4-0, I think, at the end of the second period. And I was like,
Yeah.
holy shit, this is embarrassing. Like, we're at the Shark Tank, and this is occurring to us. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, the Vegas games are fucking awful. I mean, like I said, we came out in preseason mode. Like, the Vegas games are such a wash, and no one was ready for like a. It's just such a joke of like a back-to-back two games, and it just completely like killed the hype that I had coming in for the NHL starting and for the Sharks starting.
Yep.
just completely killed that. And like the young guys just got destroyed by this team. They were bodied left and right. It was just a hard game to watch for sure. In my opinion, like the Ducks game too, it's just like I was trying to take a lot of time to look at the young guys coming in because like I honestly I haven't seen anything really good for them, and like Ferraro, especially in the first two games, looked really bad. He
Yeah.
kind of looked better against the Ducks, but like
He looked better against the Preds too.
yeah, but like the games where they just had like bigger guys, I just feel like we got destroyed and dismantled. Like these bigger teams were just like we're so weak, and I'll talk like I can go into the talk a little bit more about that in a little bit, but just like specifically about the Ducks game too, it was just like really frustrating to see because we were really inconsistent. We would have 5 minutes of like really good pressure and we were working really hard, and then the next like 5 minutes, we just took our foot off the gas and we looked like a really bad team. So I just didn't understand that, and it was like
Yeah.
super frustrating.
Yeah, I don't know. No one seems motivated is a big thing, and I don't know if that's a DeBoer problem or individual problem or a locker room problem, but I don't know. I mean, they got their ass in shape later on, but still, early on, it was like, what the hell happened? Like, what was going on during the off season? Were you guys just shitting and waiting, or
It
yeah?
really seems like it. It really seemed like that's what they were doing because they were just
Hmm.
so incredibly not ready to play.
No one gave a shit. Yeah.
No. Yeah. And it definitely leads me. Oh yeah, and our special teams too. What a fucking joke that
Oh
was.
my god!
Yeah.
Holy,
Oh
what
my
was it?
god.
Three shorthanded goals we
Yeah.
allowed against
Yeah.
the Knights. God.
Wow. That was we couldn't put anything. And this one of the more frustrating parts about that is that we really didn't change anything up. Like in terms of the only piece that we took away, and granted it was a big piece, but like Pavelski in his tipping. But like other than that, like it's still kind of the same power play. We're still running and operating kind of the same.
We scored
Eh,
4 fucking goals with that power play against
Yeah,
Vegas last
yeah,
year without Pavelski. Like,
yeah. That's true.
we
Exactly. Yeah,
literally proved that we could do that, and
yeah,
we didn't do it for 60 minutes or, you know, 120 minutes, I guess.
yeah. For pretty much 3 games, it was just like horrible to watch. It was just like I was honestly worried when we would go on the power play. I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's it. Like brings me back to like the Pavelski stuff that we talked about last time, and like what kind of an identity we'll come out with. It's just like why are we having identity issues? It
Yeah.
seems like we lost a lot of our identity just removing one piece. Like we don't have
Hmm.
Pavelski anymore, and it sucks. But it just seems like we lost like a lot of our identity as a team. We
Yeah,
still
I
have the
agree.
same core, and I
And
don't know how we just
it's
lost our
funny too
identity
because
with that core.
that could play into the fact. I mean, Marleau comes back.
Yeah,
We get a veteran who kind of fill, and then right back to so
yeah,
maybe we just needed the antidote of an older guy to be together with Joe Thornton and them. I mean,
yeah. I guess I don't know.
I
We
don't
have
know.
so many veterans. We have so many like voices. It doesn't seem like yes, Pavelski was the captain. He was an integral part of the team, but like I don't know. It's really weird, and it's also just like even going back to that, like our identity as a Sharks team has been flip flopping a bunch. Like from the last 2 years, you think about the Sharks 2 years ago, and when we had to trade at the deadline for Evander Kane, we had one of the lowest goals per game, but we also had one of the lowest goals against per game. Then you
Yep.
flip to next year, get Eric Carlson. Our identity completely flips. We have one of the highest goals per game and one of the highest goals against per game. Just like go from such a solid structural defensively minded team to like putting a lot of pucks in the net, but like
Just
giving
firepower.
yeah, which was really weird in my opinion. And now and it's the same core, it's the same coaches, and 1 year we flipped, and now it just looks like we have the worst of those two. Still, I
Yeah.
mean, even in the games that were besides the Calgary game, which I think we played pretty solid in, like even the Chicago game, we looked really bad, and we had just like low goals and really high goals against, and it was really frustrating.
Yeah,
It's
and
weird to
we
see that.
and we shouldn't be playing Chicago that close. Like,
No, or the Ducks. We should beat the Ducks every time. We shouldn't play Chicago close at all. Yeah. I mean, obviously we're in a league now where anyone can take a game off of
Yeah,
anyone, and there's a lot of
absolutely.
parity. But yeah, there's just like it's weird to see for sure. Um, I don't know. Do you have anything to say in regards to like the identity?
I mean, the only thing is the captaincy. I think a big thing that plays into the identity is who's wearing the letters. Regardless of who actually is speaking up in the locker room, whoever's given that responsibility, it's a big deal. So I think DeBoer needs to make a decision regarding the, because I mean that shows right there that the coach doesn't even know what the identity is. His version of the identity is having 5 different identities, which would be great if we could do that, but we can't, obviously. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So how much do you think like DeBoer's on the hot seat right now?
Um, I think he's gone. I mean, if we don't make the playoffs, he should definitely be gone.
Yeah.
Um, I don't see Doug making a change mid-season
You
at
don't?
all. No, I mean we'd have to go. We'd have to really fucking hit the bottom of the barrel, which I don't. Which I'm still confident that we won't do that, but I'm afraid that we're going to be fighting for like an 8 seed.
Yeah. Something interesting though was last year when we like around it wasn't mid-season, but it was like right before then, right before the All-Star break. Doug basically came in and we like didn't have that good of a record. I think we were like wild card seeding at that
Mm-hmm.
point. Like we were just doing all right, and it was before like we went on a pretty good win streak. He basically came in and said like if you guys don't get it together, we're gonna like start shipping you guys away and start getting like picks or start
I
like
remember
trading
that.
for something
Yeah,
else. So, you know, especially for Doug, like I don't know, anything's possible, but at the same time, yeah, it's like what are you gonna do? Is
yeah.
he?
I,
What do
I
you
could
really
see
do? Yeah,
players. I could see players getting dumped off. I think it's less likely he gets rid of DeBoer though mid-season, but I could see him start trading guys away,
yeah. No,
especially like a LeBanc or
mm,
a just because 1 year contract and I don't know. There's
yeah,
other guys too. I don't even want to broach that subject yet because
yeah,
that
yeah. No, I
yeah
totally understand. But it is interesting to like look and think about, how many, if we kept like taking more losses in a row, or if we, aren't doing that well coming into midseason, like how much is DeBoer on the hot seat, or how much like are
yeah.
these
I think he
players like,
should be.
yeah,
I just don't see Wilson doing it.
yeah, and it's weird because like that generally like never happens as a coach. You get a new coach mid-season, but like last year, I think 4 teams almost like within the same week just like dropped their coaches and picked up new
Yeah,
coaches. So you never know, and I don't really know, but yeah,
and it worked. I mean, it worked for the Blues and it worked for the Flames.
yeah,
So I mean, yeah,
and just so I'll continue this by. We'll keep going into the losses because unfortunately that was basically all we got to see out of the Sharks since our last show, but since the start of
yeah,
the season, really. But just looking at future concerns for the Sharks, like they just look so weak. They look
hmm
so weak. They lose so many puck battles in the corner. They don't pick up bodies. They get walked by any team that like lays the body on them. Like
they lose
it
every
looks
puck
so
battle in
bad.
the corner.
Yeah, and it's just like it's really weird to see. It's just like any team in like Vegas, like they're a hard hitting team and they just like destroy us
Yep,
because they hit us and we're like so
and we
soft,
don't
we're
punch
so
back.
weak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't do anything back. We got Timo bitching at him in Swiss, German, whatever the hell he speaks now.
Yeah, so and the other like future concern is like the odd man rushes is I would love to get to see a stat on that, like get to see whether or not the Sharks like give up the most odd man rushes per game because it really feels like that. Like the amount of breakaways, the amount of like 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s that we give up every
Like
game,
just
it's just
sloppy.
so
Yeah.
bad. And it's crazy to think like how often that happens.
hmm
But yeah, it really looks bad because like I didn't think this would be the case, but in the first like couple of games, it really looked like depth was a huge problem. It's like, we're relying on our younger guys now, like getting rid of Pavelski, getting rid of some of our like more veteran depth, even like go as far as to say Donskoy,
Yeah,
getting rid of him. You're relying on someone else to pick up that slack, and that someone else is a younger guy, which never a good sign for a team if you're relying on young guys to produce the most for you.
and
Uh,
Brodzinski we literally got rid of after a week
yeah,
to make room for Marleau. So
yeah,
like, yeah,
yeah. So that's the depth on the forward side, especially, just doesn't really seem good. Yeah, we can. I mean, we can kind of we've played out the losses and talked a lot about you know
yeah. I
the
mean, there's not much
bads.
to say more about the losses because they were, I don't
Yeah,
know. The
we.
second period of the Preds game was the only time that I was like, oh, this team's kind of good. But that quickly changed when the third period started. So
Yeah. Yeah, but even in our first win too, we looked bad. Like even in the
yeah,
Chicago win, we didn't look good
hmm
whatsoever. Like our D zone coverage looked awful. Everyone was just
I was gonna
standing
say,
around.
yeah,
It's so like I just like have the goals pictured in my head, and it's just brutal. Like it looks so bad. It's just like the
and
first.
Dell was not a good. Your backup goalie too is supposed to be providing a competitive edge to your starter, and Dell doesn't do that for shit. Like, good God,
Yeah. I don't think like okay, the thing about the Chicago game, like I don't really think Dell was that big of a problem. Like you look at some of the game or you look at that game and you look at the goals, it's like, the first goal, Carlson's just trying to like clear the puck, completely messed that up. Just like just completely ruined it. Gave it
hmm
away. They score. Same thing happened in the third goal. Failed dump again, gives up the puck. And then like the second goal, like there was like four, like all these goals happened. There were like two, three like different chances where Dell's making the first, sometimes even the second save, but our D like aren't there picking up the bodies in front of the net, which is like one of the most frustrating things for me to watch is like,
yeah,
looking at our D that are staring at the puck in the corner that are supposed to be in front of the net. They're just staring at the guy in the corner, and there's someone wide open, like just right next to him. They don't pick up that body, and like a puck will get through, and then they're turning around, and the puck's already on the stick of the other guy, and he just gets a wide open chance. And that's like the most frustrating thing to me is like really basic stuff. And it's been a problem like last year is a huge problem. Nothing really changed in that regard. Um,
yeah.
yeah.
There was one guy. There's only one guy who's on the for all four goals. You know who it was? Other than Dell, obviously.
Was it Carlson?
No, it was LeBanc.
Oh, yeah.
He was a -3. He had one
Oh,
goal.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, he has come out fly. I'll give him the fact that like I thought he played well in the Calgary game, but I thought all the Sharks played like you look at his
Other than
last.
Jones, the Jones goal that he gave up was bad. I mean, like obviously he
Yeah,
only let
yeah,
up
the
the
one
one
right off
goal,
the
but
face
that
off.
that one goal was so bad.
But isn't that so classic Jones? Like that's what Jones is. He makes these like breakaway
Yeah.
saves, great saves, and then all of a sudden like, there'll be some like weak shot from the point that trickles in 5-hole.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, thanks Jones. I don't know. Uh, but yeah, I mean like it's easy to say that the Sharks look good against Calgary because of how bad their performance had been all season. Like it's so easy to just say like they look fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, the one thing I have to say about the wins and even some of the losses is that like we were getting a lot of shots. We were getting pucks to the net, and it was really good. Like
That part I did like, yeah.
we outshot our opponents. I think almost every single game, which is a really good stat. Even though even in games we're only scoring like one goal. You keep that up over the span of a season and out shooting your opponents, you're gonna win more games, and that's like
As long as you have good goaltending too, which is
yeah.
another yeah.
And then how much of the goaltending though do you want to actually blame on Jones and
I mean
Dell? You know,
I mean like I think they're certainly not exempt from being blamed for anything. I mean, neither one of them like stood on their head. I mean, Joner was probably the Calgary game again was probably the best that that either of them had.
Yeah,
But
because it's the
still,
only game where they didn't let in more than 3 goals.
yeah, but still, and that was the only game too. Which this goes to our point. That was the only game too where the Sharks were outshot, and we were almost outshot by double.
Yeah.
So those nights where we aren't shooting as much, those are the nights when we'll need Joner or Dell to step up, and I don't see Dell doing it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We need the Joner of 2 years ago.
Yeah, I know, and it was funny too because when we were like texting during the game, you said like, and I completely agree with it. You said like, I don't even see a difference between Jones and Dell right now. Like, I don't even know which one's
Yeah,
in net, and it is like really weird to say that. And for someone who was so good a couple years ago to just like where he is now, and he's a really hard goalie to rate because you look at what happens in a hockey game, especially a Sharks game. He
yeah.
makes a breakaway save almost every single game that could have easily blown it out. And you always look at the game, you're like, even in a game where we lose like 3-1, 4-1, you're like, wow, that could have been 5-6-1. But then you also look at some of the goals and you're like, okay, those were weak. So it's like, how much do you want to say like, oh, it's our defense's fault versus like, how much is
I,
it Joner's fault?
I think it's clear that it's our defense's fault. I think it's even hard. That makes it even harder to gauge the goaltender play when your defense is playing so bad, because then it's like it's like the opposite when your tendy's clearly playing bad and your defense is fine. Then it's hard to gauge how bad the defense is playing because the tendy's doing so bad. So
Yeah.
I think it's like the opposite situation right now. The defense is so clearly bad that it's like, how can you but I think that neither one of them have been good enough, because I
Yeah.
mean, I see these teams who have like Grubauer stands on his head like every fucking night. Like the Avs D hasn't been terrific at all. I'm literally watching Grubauer just got scored on, but it was a nice fucking play. But like, yeah, that's what I want. I want Joner to be like a guy that night in, night out, I'm like, okay, worst comes to worst, our defense could shit the bed, but we got Jones between the pipes, and that hasn't happened.
Yeah, and I like the year that we did our Stanley Cup run. That's what I would say. Like I would say, like, yeah,
Yep.
we may look bad. I mean, we may put Roman Polak out on the ice in Stanley Cup Finals, but we got Joner, and now it's
Mm-hmm.
just like a completely different scenario. And I don't know. Like Joner always seemed like a goalie that kind of had his mental in check. Like there are some weird goalies, Ilya
I think
Brizgalov being one of them.
he
But
reminds me of Eli Manning in that sense. He forgets everything quickly.
yeah,
The problem is sometimes maybe he forgets it too quickly and he lets up the same exact shit. You know, so maybe it's almost like his lack of emotion. Like, remember that game it was? Joner like shoved somebody in front of the net, and I fucking looked at you and I was like, "Oh shit, dude! Did you see that? Joner actually got pissed about something."
yeah,
Like that right there. The fact that I'm even getting hyped up about him shoving one person with his catching glove, like
yeah. He's
that shows
definitely.
how little
He seems
emotion he
like the
shows.
exact opposite of Fleury
Yep,
in that sense. Yeah. It's just
100%.
like the
And
most
like
like
the
cut
opposite
and
of
dry
Patrick
guy.
Waugh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, we're gonna need
which
him to step
works
up.
if it works, but the problem is it's not working. So
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, one saving grace about the Chicago game, and we can kind of talk about Marleau now scoring 2 goals in that game. Just
mhm.
what a sight that was to have him just come out and get re-signed. And this was something that needed to get done. I don't know why
Oh
it didn't
yeah,
get done before the season started. Like this guy got traded, and he was gonna retire if it wasn't up to Doug Wilson deciding to like make this deal happen. He
it
was gonna
took 4
retire.
fucking losses for us to do it. That's the blessing we can take out of the losses.
I guess, yeah, yeah. It took
Yeah,
4 losses for us to get this guy. But yeah,
and
it
then
was
he
definitely
immediately made an impact.
yeah. I mean, it just like blows my mind that this guy was gonna retire and
Yeah,
not play because like I'm sure he got a ton of offers. I'm sure like a lot of people were,
yeah,
would want a Patrick Marleau on their team, and he signs for league minimum when we need him the most. He just shows up. I
yep.
think that's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
fucking yeah, dude. I wish we had done that with Nabi, but that's a whole different discussion.
Of course. Did
Yeah.
Did you see like I I don't know like because I always watch like streams and you have like NHL TV. I don't know if they like actually show, but like during a commercial they like did this thing for Patrick Marleau. It's probably on YouTube too, but I'm not sure. Where
Hmm.
they like kind of celebrated like him returning, and it looked like he was about to cry. It was like
Oh yeah,
such an
yeah, yeah.
awesome thing to see, and like
Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah,
love all that stuff.
that was great, and it like really makes it like the Pavelski loss really hit close to home. You know, it's a hard one to lose for sure, but like this definitely like makes it feel a lot better, which is why it's shocking to me that Doug didn't like figure this out
Do it
beforehand.
earlier.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like everyone's looking at Doug Wilson like, what the fuck? You traded our captain. What? Like, why?
Yep.
And like
In order to sign a guy who
you
played
could have
half the games and was pretty embarrassing on defense, which is his position.
yeah. You could have mitigated like a lot of this if you just got Marleau signed at the beginning. You know, a lot
Yep.
of people would have been like, okay, yeah, we lost Pavelski, that sucks, but we're getting Marleau. And I know there were people that were like mad about getting Marleau because they're like, oh, he's too old, like we need to move a different direction. But like
Which those people are
are
fucking.
idiots.
Yeah, are you
Yeah,
kidding?
I don't know. Those are the people that maybe don't want to win a Stanley Cup. Let's
Yeah.
see.
Those are the people who live in San Francisco and fucking don't know shit about hockey until playoffs come around. I'm a Sharks fan. All right, bud.
Uh, and then the Flames game. I guess we kind of talked on it a little bit. Jones
Yeah.
played really well. Besides the one goal
And you
he
know what?
let up.
I gotta switch my because that's not the goal I was thinking of.
Oh.
That wasn't a terrible goal to give up. I mean, it was
It was
like
kind of a weird goal for sure
it
though. It
was a
was just
weird
like
goal.
right
Yeah.
off the draw, and it was like a weird bounce, and it was like, oh, what the hell?
The one because I'm looking for it right now. I'm like going through. He let it up straight 5-hole, like just coming down the side. Like he was looking like a
I'm pretty sure I saw
fucking
like 3 of those in the 2 Vegas games.
yeah. I mean, yeah, okay, yeah, the Vegas ones, but this one felt more recent. Maybe I was just fucking watching the highlights the other day. But yeah, I mean, like those kind of goals, I'm just like put my head in my hands and I'm like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't really play. I didn't really think the goal against the Flame like that was a weird goal. It like bounced.
Yeah,
It literally was tipped and then bounced off the ice like twice and then went over his pad like right off the draw too. It was really weird, but you
yeah,
know, they
no,
actually looked like they were working hard, which I like. Like the Sharks actually looked good, and like I don't want to give them 100% of the credit because it was literally back-to-back nights away for the Flames. So obviously, like those are kind of trap games that they're playing. It's hard to win, but you know we'll take
yeah.
those for sure, and it'll make us look good.
Seriously, especially because fuck the Flames.
Did you see, dude, LeBank's goal? That was such a beauty. Just like tic
Yeah,
tac toe.
dude.
When I saw that, I was
Yeah,
like, holy shit, we might. That was like the moment where I was like, we actually might be a good team. Maybe if we can like string something together like a little bit more, we actually might be a good team. Jones was playing well. They were skating. The special teams was more together, and we just like were making some good tic tac toe passes, and it was nice for sure. That's what I liked. Like to
yeah.
see it. Yeah. That's basically I don't know. There's not even much to say
Yeah.
about the win.
There's not a whole. I feel like the game's coming up because you kind of led into that a little. We've strung together too now. If you want to get into the games coming
Yeah,
up now.
yeah, let's do that for
Um,
sure.
like the game tonight, I didn't even realize the Hurricanes were 6-1. Holy shit.
I know.
Yeah, luckily we're playing them at home too, which I like a lot more, or at least I liked in the past. I'm not as trustworthy now with them, with the Sharks at the tank. But yeah, I don't know. If we can beat the Hurricanes and we can go 3-0, knock on wood, and Marleau can keep playing like he does and keep fucking being that lightning bolt that's getting us going, then that's going to be awesome. But if we just get outskated tonight by a younger and possibly like somebody could make, I don't think this, but somebody could make the argument that they're more talented at the moment. Sebastian Aho is a fucking psychopath.
Yeah.
So I mean, if we can get this and 3, then I'm right back to feeling confident because there's no way I didn't think in my head that there was gonna be a point or that we weren't gonna have a point of 4 straight losses. I didn't think it was gonna come
Yeah.
at the beginning of the season. You know, kind of sucked right off the bat, shock factor. But I mean, if we can win 3 straight right after losing 4 straight, we can get right back into shit.
Yeah. No, it's definitely not. I mean, that's probably a good sign for us, winning 3 straight after 4 straight. But it's I completely agree with you. If we just get like run over at home,
Hmm.
I think like these talks of like the concerns will keep going. I think like a lot could happen between the next time we do one of these, which is just like how these next. I mean, we got a couple games coming up. We got a big road trip coming up.
Yeah,
We
we got
play,
East Coast.
yeah. So a lot can happen here, and it could completely like change the way that we think about the Sharks coming in the next time we do one of these. Because if they just play hard, like even if we lose against the Hurricanes, but we're playing hard, it's a close game. I'm gonna feel a little bit better about if we just get blown out, obviously.
Yeah,
But just like thinking about the concerns that we addressed earlier, it's just like that those kind of go away to some extent. Even if we lose some of these games coming up, but we're playing hard and we look like a good hockey team, we just have to be consistent. We have to actually like win these battles, in my opinion, because the
yeah.
Hurricanes are a good team, regardless if it's home or away. This is a team that, looking at records, should like destroy us. But
Well, and I'm looking at their stats right now too, and I just mentioned Aho, and he's having a shit year. He's only got 2 goals, no assists in 7 games, and I completely forgot about Svechnikov, Teravainen, Eric Hall is tearing shit up. Ryan fucking Dzingel, funniest last
I
name in the
fucking
NHL.
hate the single man.
God.
Oh my
Um,
god.
I mean, and their team too their team's young and like they're physical, which I think is going to be like you addressed it earlier. I think
Yeah.
the physicality is going to be tested big time,
Yeah.
and we better punch back because if we're just sitting down and having Timo chirp his fucking, I don't know. I'm trying to say something that's not offensive, but if we're just having Timo chirp his ass off and Eric Carlson's just pooping by the blue line and we got fucking Burnsy, I don't know, probably just staring at his own beard in the glass. Like we need everybody to be fucking ready to go, and if somebody jumps one of us, then somebody else has their back.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I agree. All right, let's do this since we're about like 37 minutes in. Let's go through the next 1, 2, 3, basically up until the Toronto game. Let's say our prediction, and then we'll talk about a little bit more about like what it will look like if we come out with our prediction, and like how do you think the Sharks will be doing. So just
Yeah.
let's just like kind of go through the games, say our prediction, why you think that.
You want to lead it off?
Yeah, sure. So
All
I
right.
I honestly think and this is like when we talked about this last week and we like brought up Vegas, we're like, well, I think we're gonna go 1-1 in these two series, but we could definitely go 0-2, and we can definitely go 2-0. I think that's the same thing, coming out against the Hurricane, even though they're 6-0, they're coming to the Shark Tank, and I think that'll be big. But I honestly think, I haven't seen enough from the Sharks right now to give them the
Mm-hmm.
win. So I say we lose to the Hurricanes.
Did they play? Did they play last night? Because I know these teams, like they're either
I don't
playing.
know.
They either played. I'm looking right now. They either played last night or they're going to play again tomorrow night. Oh yeah, they did. They played last night. They shut out the
Oh.
Kings 2-0.
Hmm. All right.
Okay,
So
and
what do you
that I
say based on
mean
that? I'll stick to my prediction.
that I think that helps even more
No, it definitely
because
does.
like you mentioned earlier with the Flames, I mean we got them on a back to back, so I'm gonna take it if we can get the Hurricanes on a back to back on the opposite side of the country.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that even more though puts pressure on the Sharks. Like you can't you can't shit the bed like you didn't against Vegas, the Ducks, or the Predators. Like you got to come out firing and outshoot them. And I don't even think Joner should be tested that much. But if he is, he should fucking stand up and stop him.
Yeah. And like I don't I'm predicting that we lose, but I want to see a good game out of the Sharks, and I think that's going to be important. Like even if we lose, I'm
Yeah,
going to be okay with losing to a 6-0 Hurricanes if they just play a hard game and they look like they're battling and they look like there's at least good signs from them. If it's like a 5-1, oh man,
yeah. That and
this is
that's what I'm afraid of. There's like
yeah.
a bit of fear in me in that. and then I'm gonna text you after like 10 minutes in the first and be like, "Holy fuck!" But I'm hoping it's a holy fuck that we're up 2-0. I'll say we win 4-3 in
Oh, you're giving
overtime.
scores. You're giving
Yep,
scores.
4-3 in overtime.
Nice. All right. Buffalo, play them at home, then we play them away. My prediction on those, I think we should beat Buffalo both times. I say we should. I think that
Good
if we,
God, they haven't lost a game in regulation yet. Oh.
yeah, but I don't know. It's just like, even though like these early records are just so weird,
Yeah, no,
and
I
it's
know.
just like
Yeah.
so hard to say. I just, actually, wait. Now that I think about it, how's Sam Reinhart doing?
I don't know. Let me
He's
take
just
a
nuts.
peek here. Wow, we got. I mean, can you imagine if 2 years ago I told you that the Sabres and the Hurricanes and the Avalanche are fucking sitting atop the standings? Like,
Yeah,
good lord.
the Oilers,
Sam Reinhardt's three goals, 3 assists, 6 games.
Jack Eichel, 9 points.
Yeah,
Ah, man,
Rasmus Dahlin.
I
I guess
see.
they're using those draft picks well.
Yeah, I don't know. I look when I try to make these predictions, it's really hard for me to separate the fact that this is a new season. Because if I just look at like last season, I'm just like, if we lose that game, that's a disappointment. But like 5-0 Buffalo, like
Especially at home.
we got
Yeah,
a tough week coming up. We're not like our next three opponents haven't lost a game in regulation, so
yeah. Fuck.
it's tough to say. I would like to see us go, 2-1, beat Buffalo both times. If we lose the Hurricanes. But yeah, we're in another situation where we can see ourselves going 0-3 in these games. But
Yeah.
we've
I think it could be a 1-1-1 situation, which is the most average and basic fucking prediction. I mean, out of those three games so far, like that could literally. I just like you said earlier, we actually play like we're not the Coyotes or some shit. And I know the Coyotes are better. But you know what I mean?
yeah. All right, so your final prediction 1-1-1 in those three games?
1-1-1. I say we lose the game in regulation, so that'll be a tail end of those three, but still.
Okay, I'm gonna say 1-2. I'm gonna say we lose to the Hurricanes, we beat Buffalo, hand them their first regulation. Oh, actually no, they're probably gonna play another game between that, but we're gonna play them at home and win that one. Then we're gonna have a tough time with them on the road. But next couple games, starting out the road trip, we got Montreal and then Toronto. Last two games, we'll talk about predictions. You start
Yeah.
us off on those.
I guess the Toronto game's second, so I shouldn't talk about that one. But that one excites me. So in a couple seconds, I'll get hyped about that one. Montreal, though, I think we should stomp on them, even though it's in Montreal. I mean, a lot of those boys too. We have a Canadian ass team, and those boys love going back home, and especially Montreal. That's like a sick place to play. And it's not a tough place to play these days because
they're not
competitive. Yeah, so I think that game we should win pretty handily, if not like our biggest win of the season. I mean, that's a big thing for going across the country, but still. Yeah, I'll leave that one at that. And then the Leafs game, that one will be exciting, and that'll be a big test too. Especially if we come out the way that we're saying it right now, that'll be like the exclamation point on these 5 games here if we can take out Toronto. I would say that I don't think we will, but I am again hoping that it's the fight that I'm hoping for.
Yeah. No, and we'll see. Like, yeah, this is a big next week and a half for the Sharks. This is huge. This is gonna like really, we have these questions about their identity right now. This is really what's gonna tie it all together, I think, or at least start to like paint a picture of what the Sharks are gonna be this year. But yeah, I say, we obviously I think that we're gonna take the game off Montreal, and then I think that going into the Toronto game, it's gonna be a tough one. I think we, I'll guess that we lose that game in overtime. So we're gonna go.
Okay.
How many games did we talk about? We talked about 5, right?
5, yeah.
We're gonna go 2-2-1. Wait, so
I got
I think we have the same prediction, but different wins and losses.
Yeah, no, we do. We do have the
Shit.
exact same. But I mean, but hold on. That kind of though goes to the same theme though that we're talking about, which is that we're hoping the next 5 games that we're fighting,
Yeah.
regardless of the wins and the losses. Now that I've seen these first 6 games, and how little that we got in the first 4, and how much we did fight in the next, because the Blackhawks game wasn't a great game, but at least we were fighting. You know, like
Yeah.
Patty Marleau was back. They were hyped up, and then obviously the Flames game we were absolutely playing. So that's what I'm hoping for. 2-2-1 is perfect to me. They could even go 1-3-1, and as long as they're, I can tell they're playing their asses off, and I don't even, because if they do play their asses off, then they will not be 1-3-1. Like, I don't know. That sounds like the most typical thing ever, but it's the truth because they're that good. They just need to actually
Yeah.
fucking, play.
No, yeah, I completely agree with that. 1-3-1 too. Although it's gonna look bad on our overall record, I think it all depends on how these games play out. These next 5 games. But
Yep.
it all depends on if we get walked or if we're actually looking like a team that's going to compete this year, regardless of our score. Because if we're competing through all these games, I don't care what the score is. I'm not going to have any question marks in terms of where we're going to be in the playoffs. Obviously, when we lose games, even if we competed, there are problems, and we will talk about those problems. But there's a lot less to worry about, I feel like, if we're
Yep.
competing. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. It'll be the eye test. Like the numbers won't matter as much to me. Obviously, 0-5 would be a clear number, just like 5-0 would. But I think it'll be somewhere in the middle, and it'll be based off of watching the games that you'll be able to tell if the Sharks are back or not.
Yeah. All right, that kind of wraps everything up on what we want to talk about for the most part. You want to give your little rant and give some background about
Oh
what
yeah,
happened with the
I
Sharks
gotta.
Instagram?
Yeah, so the Sharks Instagram did this promo where they were like, comment you and your like this photo, comment your buddy's name. They always do that on social media. So I did, and I tagged Lucas, and the next day I get a message that was like, congratulations, you won whatever, you won NHL 20. And I was like, holy shit, like I won, that's awesome. So I go on there and I'm like, hey guys, I won. And they don't get back to me for like quite a while. I think it was like a week or something. But I can let that slide. They eventually got back to me. Give me the link, give me the promo code. I go on there. The promo code's like 1/3 of the way long that it's supposed to fucking be. And then I message them each day over and over again. And they even apologized when they gave me the promo code. They're like, sorry it took so long. And I was like, oh, it's all good. Let's go Sharks. And then I realized this promo code is not going to fit in this fucking box. Like, I need a promo code that's 3 times longer than this. So I keep messaging them every fucking day for like a week after, and they just don't respond to me. And yeah, so I'm pretty fucking pissed off. And I commented on a couple of their photos, and I was like, my
I know
team's
you
getting their ass
tagged me.
kicked. Yeah, and the fucking
You're, ta-
social media guys are fucking me over with NHL.
you're tagging me
So
where's my NHL at Sharks?
yeah, like I just wanted them to give me NHL. So now I don't have NHL, and I'm considering just buying it, which is frustrating
Yeah.
because I deserve it. I deserve it for free, but I want to play it so bad. So yeah, that's my little rant. Fuck the
Yeah.
Sharks Instagram account. I would stop following them if it wasn't the Sharks. Oh.
Yeah.
So yeah, that pissed me off. It was also sick to win it, man. I was like,
Yeah,
oh
no,
fuck,
that's
I
really
won
cool.
it. Yeah, and then I realized I can't even get it because I get screwed over by my own team.
I'm worried they listened to our first podcast and they were like, "Is this the same Jeff? Like, this guy was a
Like,
total dick."
fuck this
Yeah.
kid. Well, now if they listen to the second one, they'll realize how much of a dick I am.
Yeah. It's not getting any better until they start
Yeah,
stringing together some
that's
wins.
yeah. And they need to give me my chill too. Like we could win. We could win the next 5 games, and I'll still be sitting here saying "fuck the Sharks" Instagram.
We'll have a slot at the end of every episode. Just to see if you ever get it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I'll message them like once a week, and I'll be like, and then once this podcast is like a couple million strong, I'll be like, you guys remember when you shat on me and didn't give me my promo code? It'll all come full circle.
All right. Yeah, that's gonna do it for episode 2, I think. Unless you
All
you
right.
got anything else to say?
I mean, I hope the season gets a little better before the next time we do one of these.
Yeah, hopefully we don't spend 45 minutes shit talking the Sharks like we
Yep.
pretty much did
I
this
want to
week.
shit
But
talk someone else.
yeah, like the Ducks. Hopefully
Yeah,
they
that'd
start
be
losing the games.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, we can always go to the Kings too, but they got the same record as us right now, so they need to drop a little further.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
All right,
As
bud.
always, thanks for joining.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thanks for hosting me on your little gaming app.
Yeah. No problem.
All right.